banks of the Jordan River, they were faced with what was seen to be an impossible situation. Beloveds, have you ever been in a situation where you just thought it was impossible? Have you ever said to yourself, Lord, how am I going to do this? Have you ever just, can we be real? Have you ever just questioned yourself, Jasmine, and said, how in the world can I get, first of all, how did I get here? And then secondly, how am I going to get across? To make matters even worse, hoop in the text, the river was at flood stage. You see, the sun had begun to melt the snow from the Lebanon mountain, and it had begun to deposit in the Jordan River. So while they were standing there on their Jordan, the river began to increase. Water began to come up. In other words, it was already bad. Somebody, I better go over here because somebody's in a bad situation over here. It's already bad. You can't see how it can get any worse because it's already at the bank. And to make matters, to make it worse, man, the water beginning to rise. The flood is beginning to come. And the Bible says they were standing on the banks of the Jordan River. Beloveds, Israel had two choices. They could take a step of faith or they could take a step of unbelief. Can I show you something? Can I teach this? Can I show you something? See, unbelief says we can't do it. We can't do it. We can't do it. Get Numbers chapter 13. We can't do it. You know, we can't do it. But faith says, let us go over to what the Lord has promised us. Let me kind of set this up. You remember God had promised them the land. And you remember they sent 12 spies to spy out the land. Now, 10 of the reports came back was negative. The majority was negative. Okay, let's better look at it. Start about verse 25 of chapter 3. The Bible says what?
And they returned from searching of the land after 40 days.
Now you got to see this. They've been searching in the land, been here for 40 days, and now all of a sudden they've returned from the land. Read.
And they went and came to Moses and
they
to
went
Aaron,
to Moses and Aaron
and to all the congregation of the children of Israel.
I've been in the land that you guys have sent me to. Let me tell you what I saw when I was in the land. I saw what?
Unto the wilderness of Paran,
come on.
to Kodesh, and brought back word unto them, and unto all the congregation, and showed them the fruit of the land.
Yeah.
And they told him,
he said they showed him the fruits of the land. Now, in other words, they were used to grapes that were small. These grapes now was huge. As a matter of fact, they would take them on sticks. It would be one in the front and one in the back. And that would be vines of grapes just swinging on the pole. And they would walk these grapes over. He said, man, when we got over there, we saw some of the biggest grapes in the world. We saw the milk and honey that was promised to us. We saw everything that the Lord said we would have. Read.
And they told him and said, we came into the land whither thou sent us, and surely it flowed with milk and honey.
Go down.
And this is the fruit of it.
Yes, sir.
Nevertheless, to the people be strong that dwell in the land.
He said, but wait a minute. I know what we saw. He said, but let me tell you something. I looked at the people. They are much, are you seeing this? They are much bigger than we are. Ain't no way in the world we'll be able to go over in the promised land because we don't stand a chance. I wish you could see this. You got to see this, man. We don't stand a, now God had promised them. And all they could see is the situation and not the promise.